A traditional Thanksgiving dinner almost always features pumpkin pie, but too often it's a store-bought pie, or maybe it's thick, heavy, overspiced, and makes you feel like you ate a bus. So today I'm going to show you how to make a delicious, light, homemade pumpkin pie that your family will love. In fact, people who don't like pumpkin pie tell me they like this one a lot. Are you ready? The kitchen is now open. Hi, I'm Deb, and welcome to my kitchen. You know, family is built at the dinner table, and I want to help you to build yours with recipes, cooking skills, and tips on making your dinner table the family center of your home. Today, we're making a delightful pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving. Come on in, let's cook up something good. A good homemade pie needs a homemade crust, and I have a full tutorial on how to make a wonderful pie crust, and there's a link in the description below. But for today, our crust is already rolled out, crimped, and ready to be filled. So let's get right to the ingredients. For your delightful pumpkin pie, the ingredients you'll need are 3/4 cup of granulated sugar, a 1/2 teaspoon salt, 1 3/4 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice, 2 large eggs, 1 15-ounce can of pure pumpkin, 1 12-ounce can of evaporated milk, and 1 unbaked 9-inch pie crust. The tools you'll need are a baking or cookie sheet, a large mixing bowl, dry measuring cups and a 1 cup and 1/4 cup size, a silicone spatula, a hand mixer, dry measuring spoons in a 1 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon, and 1/4 teaspoon size, aluminum foil, and a paring knife. While we prepare our filling for our pie, we also need to preheat the oven. So I've already begun that. It's heating at 425 degrees. So while that's doing that, we're going to mix up some filling. We have 2 eggs. And one of the things that makes this pie so light and fluffy is that I beat it a lot. It's putting a lot of air into the pie. So I'm going to quickly beat the eggs first on high. Okay, then we're going to add our sugar. This is 3/4 cup of sugar. And then we're going to, sugar dust, and we're going to beat it again on high. You can see the light color and how it's getting a little bit fluffy. That's what I'm looking for. That's air whipping into the eggs. Okay, then we'll stop again. And now we're going to add our pumpkin. Now do take care when you do your shopping. This is canned pumpkin. It is not canned pumpkin pie filling. There's a difference. The pumpkin pie filling already has spices in it. I don't want to trust their spices. I like to control what's going into my pie, the spice levels and the spice combination. So stay away from the pie mix. Go with straight 100% pure pumpkin. Kind of get that off the spatula, and then we're going to give it another whip. I'm going to stop for just a second because I know that the pumpkin has a tendency to want to stick to the side of the bowl. So I'm going to use my spatula to give it a scrape and make sure that we're getting it completely combined with our egg and sugar mixture. Okay, a little more whip. Whoa, knocking stuff over here. There we go. Okay, next we're going to add in our salt and our spices. Now, if you look at traditional pumpkin pie recipes, they will tell you that you're going to be adding cinnamon, ginger, and cloves. Years ago, I started buying pumpkin pie spice, which is those 3 spices already all in one container in perfect proportion. I did that because I never, ever use clove, and it's really quite expensive. So this worked out much better for me, and I've been doing it that way ever since. So that's 1 3/4 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice, and we're going to whip again. Always on high speed. Take a break because I can see those spices sticking to the side, and we're going to go ahead and make sure that they're getting incorporated. I'm using high speed every time I'm mixing because it's all about adding more air into this filling. And then we have one last ingredient. That's a can of evaporated milk. There's another caution when you're doing your shopping. There's evaporated milk and there's sweetened condensed milk. Sweetened condensed milk comes in a shorter can. It is not the same thing. If you open it up and start pouring it out, it comes out really thick and goopy, like a thick syrup. It's used in making candy and different things like that. You don't want that in your pie. You want evaporated milk. And I always give it a good shake. And you can either open it with a regular crank can opener, or I like to just use my little church key here and just pour it right out of the pour spout. You put the whole can in. And this time, when I start my mixer, I'm going to start it a little lower so that I don't spray milk everywhere. And then as it starts to incorporate, I'll take it up to high speed again. So starting on low. And this would be an excellent time to stop and scrape the sides again. Make sure everything's getting mixed in. And we're going to give it a good high-speed whip. Okay, we are ready to fill our crust. Kind of want to lick the beaters. It smells so good. I have a trick for filling my crust, so I'm going to see you in a minute over at my oven. I like to fill my pie really full, and to get from my station over there to the oven, I would dump it. So this is my trick for doing this. My oven door becomes my work surface for a little minute. And be careful, it is a 425-degree oven, so all these surfaces are super, super hot. So there's a towel to protect everything. And here is that cookie sheet I said we would need, and that is going to be where we're putting our pie. First of all, it gives us a stable surface. It also collects any spillage if anything should overflow. A lot easier to clean it off of that than out of my pan. Here's my spatula, here's my 1 cup measure, and my filling. My 1 cup measure I like to use to ladle the filling into the pie. I can control it a little bit better that way. There's that beautiful filling we just whipped up, getting lots of air into it, trying not to dribble it on the edge of my crust or on my oven door. So far, so good. I'm going to scoop out as much of this as I can. And then when it gets too shallow in the bowl for me to be able to reach it with the measuring cup any longer, I'm just going to take my mixing bowl up and scrape it out with this spatula down here. You can see what I mean, that it makes a pretty full pie, so that's why I don't chance carrying it across the room. Okay, we're all in. I'm going to pull this out. And then the last thing I need to do is give this cookie sheet a gentle push. Go slowly and as smoothly as possible so we don't slosh. I think that looks pretty good. Centered in the oven. We're going to shut it. And now we're going to set our timer for 15 minutes. And it's going to bake at that 425, and we'll come back and take the next step. Our 15-minute timer has gone off, so our next step is to prepare a little foil tent for our pie. We don't want it to over brown, so that's what this is for. So I'm going to punch this and kind of try to get a curve or a dome to it. Here we go. I think that ought to do it. So that's going to go over the top of our pie, which is right now, oh, I wish it was a little taller. There we go. Right now, the crust is just a light golden brown. I like that. We don't want to go past that for now. And then the other thing we need to do is reduce our temperature from 425 down to 350. And then we're going to set our timer for 45 minutes, and then we'll come back and check it. Should be almost done at that point. Okay, there's our 45-minute timer. We're going to take a look and see how our browning and kind of the status of our filling looks. Pull this out so you guys can see. Oh, that looks pretty nice. It's a little jiggly. I think it can probably use about maybe seven more minutes. And I think the crust would benefit from maybe a little more browning too. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the tent, and we're going to put it in for 7 more minutes, and then we'll come back and check it again. Okay, there's 7 more minutes down. Let's take a look and see what we've got. The crust is lightly browned. I'm jiggling it. It looks pretty well set. I've made these so many times, I'm generally pretty sure of it when I can just jiggle the center. But just to be sure, I'm going to use this paring knife and just stab it in lightly near the center and pull it out to see if it comes out clean. And I'd say that's a pretty clean knife. I'd say that is a beautifully baked pie, and it's time to pull it out. I'm going to pull it out on the cookie sheet, take the whole thing together, and set it over on my stove top to cool for a couple of hours. Cameraman, you want to come over and take a nice look at that pie? I think that's beautiful. And it certainly smells amazing as well. So it's all set. We're going to let it cool for 2 hours, and then we'll come back and see about serving it up. Well, it's been 2 hours, and our pie is now cool to room temperature, and that means it's ready to slice and eat. Now, if you have leftover pie, you're going to want to be sure and store it in the refrigerator. Be sure you cover it when you do that. And honestly, some people even prefer their pie chilled, so keeping it in the fridge isn't a bad way to go. For now, this one is room temperature. And as far as I see it, there's 3 ways really that you can serve your pumpkin pie. The first one is just, if I can get it out of here. There we go. Just straight up on the plate, nothing else with it. Frankly, this is the way I like to have it for breakfast the day after Thanksgiving. Now, if this was my husband's pie, we would add a dollop of non-dairy whip, and that's his favorite right there. Now, for me, on Thanksgiving Day, there's only one way to serve it, and that's with a lot of this stuff. Oh, and that is a lot of this stuff, huh? Fresh whipping cream. That's my idea of a Thanksgiving pie. And I'd like to wish a happy Thanksgiving from my family to yours, because family is built at the dinner table. And if you feed them, they will come.
All to the fatter.